A while back I built myself a fume extractor for when I solder. Because when you solder a lot there are all those fumes, mostly lead, that you're not supposed to breathe in. So I used an old PC power supply case. It had a nice 12 centimeter diameter blade which would suck everything in, and I ended up assembling a power supply which I got it out, and it was working. So I would reuse the same switch here, but after a while I realized that it was quite uncomfortable to use this power inlet with a large cable and everything. But you know, it was doing its job, so I just kept working with it. Until a couple of months ago, I decided to stick a screwdriver in there, and one of the blades came off. This was not a happy moment, but of course it kept working. The only problem is that being off balance, it would cause this thing to move on the table no matter what you put under it. So I had some kind of IKEA like felt at the bottom. It was rolling on the table and it was always coming towards my magnifier or my third end. So this was the moment where I decided I needed something else. And the price for this kind of items, the professional ones with pipes and good aspirators and activated carbon filters, they can be pretty high, around 500 euros, which is, you know, a little above $500. So it was the time, it was the moment for this to go, and it took me a while because I was running a couple of projects and then Christmas came over, so I didn't have time to focus on it, and I decided that I wanted something better, but I didn't want to buy it. So I set myself to make one. And well, it took me a couple of days. If you've seen some of my Instagram updates, you know that I was up to something. And I was up to this. This is only the case, it's not connected yet. I have some stuff to still attach. So the two DC in. And while I was making this, I wanted something that could be taken out, and I wanted a nice stand. And then I found not one, but three of these ones in one of my boxes, and these are usable for everything except their intended purpose, which is being a third end. I always found them really clumsy, and these things come off. So I said, well, I have three, I can very well reuse one. And I wanted this to come off and to be orientable, so this stand is perfect. The only thing that I don't really like is this, but you know, I can work with it. And this one is meant to just sit on the flat top of this cylindrical attachment. I think I actually put it backwards. Yeah, sits better on this side. Doesn't really matter. What matters is that I have my own new aspirator, and I just need to put an activated carbon filter inside, and this thing is going to be able to follow me around the soldering iron. I designed this one in Autodesk Fusion 360. Took me a couple of days because I realized I made some mistakes, and then of course when you remove some profiles you've extruded from, Fusion can be pretty upset about that kind of stuff. I fixed the design yesterday, so this is the back. An activated carbon filter goes inside. I used some 40 millimeters M4 threaded screws which fit nicely at the front, and at the back I used some locking nuts which shouldn't be affected by vibration or anything else. I mean, this thing should be pretty stable. Because I want this one to be modular, I want to be able to use two of them rather than one. I thought, well, I'm just gonna make it so the back has two power inlets, which are of course connected in parallel, and this way I can plug a power supply in this one, and I can have an extension cable from the second one, from the second output to go to the second aspirator. I think it's a decent build. I just made it in a couple of days because I have some time on my hands lately, and I just want to show you how it's made so you have an idea of this. I recovered this two of these 80mm fans from some old hardware. I cannot recall what it is, and I bought a what is this called? Whatever, a grid, protection grid, so I don't stick my fingers in there. This is how it works. So essentially, this is the back, this is the front, which houses the fan. There's a little, you know, inset here, so this one fits nicely. I tend to design with very little tolerance when I make my parts in Fusion, because at this point I know my UltiMaker 2 well enough to know how off it's gonna go, and usually it's 0.2mm, which is negligible as a difference. I just realized that I need to probably reprint this one because of one of the extrusion issues that I had yesterday, but it doesn't really matter at this moment. I'm still gonna print a new one, and maybe at a higher quality, because these take approximately 4 hours to print out. And I just need to put some activated carbon foam in between. It's not going to be as powerful at sucking the fumes out, but it's still going to be way better than not having one at all.